What's going on, guys? It's Mitch Monomass here, coming at you with a returning series, which is the Rate My Ride road series. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. Just had so many adventure videos that I want to get out to you, so just haven't had the time to get this done. So the road we're doing today is the Omeo Highway, which is starting in Omeo. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on the first 30 odd kilometers of it. I think it's 36.37 kilometers in terms of what I'm going to be describing and all of that. But this road is about 160 kilometers long, and I haven't actually ridden the later portions, which is why we're going to leave just the 36.6 kilometers in this video. If you're enjoying any of my videos, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I normally put that at the end, but I want to start getting in the habit of putting it at the start. So it's the Omeo Highway. So it is about 4 hours northeast of Melbourne. I'll just look at... so it's about 400 kilometers northeast of Melbourne, so it is a fair travel. So that leads us right into our first criteria of the Rate My Ride road series, which is the accessibility. So the accessibility, look, yes, it is 400 kilometers from Melbourne, but it is one of those roads where you can, stay. Omeo has plenty of places to stay, and pubs and things like that to stay in. The last time I went on this, we stayed in Lindenau, which is a little bit less than 100 kilometers away. You may remember from the Alpine series where Daniel crashed his bike and my brake leaper fell off and a whole bunch of things. Connects right onto the Great Alpine Road. It's actually just a divergent kind of going around that. So that's a little bit about the accessibility. It's easy to find. It's not really hidden. You just get into Omeo and you follow the signs to Falls Creek. But if you want to continue on it, you don't turn off at Falls Creek and you follow that through. The accessibility, I'm still going to give it about a 4 out of 10 because once again it is 400 kilometers from the CBD of Melbourne, so it is a big hike, and it's definitely one that you're not going to do as a day ride, which is why I'm going to kind of keep it kind of low on that accessibility threshold. So the next one, length. So the section I've done is about 37 kilometers long, but it goes 160 kilometers from start to finish, and from what I've been told about the later portions on the road, it's still an awesome ride. So the length can get a bit tiring. The length can seem a little bit long, but there's plenty of spots to stop, pull over. There's a few cafes in places like Angler's Rest, Midda, Glen Valley, that you can kind of sort of get the take some breaks and stuff where you need to, and then so I think the length in my opinion is a 8 or 9 out of 10. It is quite long. It's really good. It's not repetitive. Plenty of twists, turns, and really fun corners and all of that, which turns it into, it doesn't feel as long as it is. And for those that can't handle those big longer rides, you can take breaks quite easily and make a good point out of it. So the length I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Alright, traffic. This is a pretty infrequently driven road, right? During winter it gets quite busy because it does access Falls Creek Road, which obviously, being a ski resort, can get quite busy. But it's not really a regularly travelled road, which means you're not going to have a whole bunch of cars coming the other way, getting stuck behind people, and things like that. So the traffic, I am going to, let's rate it a 7 out of 10. Right, good. Not many cars, but obviously you will get stuck behind a the occasional sightseer that's just kind of cruising along, which this road is perfectly good for. The condition, it has been a little while since I've ridden this road, but the conditions are always pretty good because it is quite lowly frequented. It doesn't get that huge, traffic impact of everything's kind of trashed, and it's a bit hard to maintain, but it is quite good. It's for that 37 kilometers that I've ridden, it's really good. So that's really, the condition is really good. It's there's not a lot of blind corners and things like that, but the blind corners generally are wide enough that you can still keep a bit of decent pace but maintain your line. There was no real potholes. The only thing you got to be really careful is there's trees on either side of the road, which means when you're riding through, there is the chance that some trees have fallen down and caused obstructions and things like that. So you just keep conscious of that as you're riding through. So the conditions, I wouldn't say it's the best condition road that I've done a Rate My Ride for. That's probably Mountain Highway, just because Mountain Highway is really high traffic, so obviously it's going to be kept in well condition. So yeah, conditions, I give it a 7 out of 10. That's about as high as I'm going to get. Alright, next, our next criteria for the Rate My Ride series is obviously our twistiness. This is where Omeo Highway really takes into portion, especially for that 37 kilometers that I've done. It is so twisty. People on 300s are going to 300, 400cc bikes are going to absolutely love it because their friends on the high power bikes aren't going to be able to fly off without them, because there are so many tight, flowy turns. I found nothing too, it wasn't these insane, really hard turns. It was just nice flowing. You could you can keep a good flow and really enjoy the ride, and there's some really great views out this way as well, so that's nothing to complain about. So the twistiness, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 9 out of 10. It's probably one of the best roads when you consider that factor. It's just so fun. Like, you can basically push yourself as hard as you want, with the low amounts of traffic and stuff like that. It's not as risky as some of the other roads, like, for example, Reefton. It has less traffic than Reefton Spur, so it's really good road. Really recommend if you ever get the chance to travel out there. Our next criteria, chaining. This is where it's really important that a road like this has a high rating, because it is quite far from anywhere, but you've got access to the Great Alpine Road right off it, Falls Creek Road, which is where we diverted off. You get into Tallangatta if you follow it all the way from Omeo, which means that you're going to be near another really good road, which is the Granier State Forest Road, which we rode during the Cooma Run. You remember that as one of the first sort of series I did, which is what actually gave me the idea for this series. You can connect it if you want to do a big loop around Corryong, Tallangatta and Omeo. There's a really, from what I've heard, I haven't actually had a chance to ride it, road which is called Benambra Corryong Road. I've heard that's pretty good, but I haven't obviously had a chance to ride it. If you really want to get really creative, you can even loop it up to Jindabyne. But the roads, there's not many roads around it, but all of the roads around the Omeo Highway are super fun, super great. So it's chaining, going to give it a nice high rating of 8 out of 10, just because there's heaps of roads around it. I don't want to go out giving out 10 out of 10, just because I've got to keep that in mind, that it needs somewhere to go above. And lastly, speed limit. The speed limit varies throughout this road, but for the most part it's pretty much suitable at every single section. The speed limit is a bit lower in the really twisty sections, but you know, you're having too much fun to notice that you're never actually hitting the speed limit. Unless you're an incredibly talented rider, you're not going to feel like the speed limit is too low. Just because there's lots of turns, you're going to be braking heavily. You know, if you're taking it safely, you won't be going too hard coming into corners and things like that. But it is a really, really enjoyable road. So even with the slightly lower speed limit, it is still really good. Alright, yeah, so to sort of a summary, is that it is probably, I would say, a road to put on your list of roads I'm going to do, especially if you are in Eastern Victoria, or even southeastern New South Wales, considering it is only a couple of hours from the New South Wales border. So if you're in that southern part like Jindabyne, Coomera or Delegate or even Eden, they're all options that, you know, you can, you're quite close to it. So overall, gonna give it a 7 out of 10 just because its accessibility kind of pulls it down a bit, or else I'd give it an 8 or a 9. Yeah, as you would have seen, and you would know, I am currently in the midst of putting up a whole bunch of videos in the month of December and January. You know, the Rate My Rides are going to be a big portion of that, and it's an excuse to get them done. I've been keeping up my weekly videos, and I prefer putting out adventure videos because they seem to be the more popular type of video, and also the video that I enjoy making more. So, but the Rate My Ride, I think, you know, it's a series that I came up with and thought would be a really cool idea, and it gives a chance for people that don't live in Victoria to have a look at, I'm going to hit that road when I come down, or anything like that. Yeah, so we've got next week as part of the December Blitz. So the weeknight videos are going to be either Rate My Rides or garage videos. Unfortunately, I've been a bit slack with the garage videos at the moment. I didn't plan to do one to set up the audio, to show how to set up the audio, but that's been put on the back burner just because I want to set it up on my dirt bike helmet. I just haven't got around to buying all the pieces that I need for it. I've got it set up in the road helmet now, and you would have seen that being used hopefully in the MotoGP release video, which will have come out about a month before this, but I'm actually making this video before that weekend. Yeah, so if you're still watching at this point, I finished the Rate My Ride. It's going to be talking a little bit about what's going to happen next couple of months. So we've got all the Rate My Rides dirt versions. I still have a few roads that I want to do for the road version. I'm hopefully going to go out and film those before this video comes out. So some of those roads are out near Kinglake, that sort of area, and I am looking at doing some roads out in the west. So if you have any suggestions for roads out in the west, send me a mess, comment on Instagram or anything like that. I'll be sure to check it out. So there's a few what's the name of it? It goes between St Andrews and Kinglake. It's a nice little cut-off road that not many people follow. And also the main one from Yarra Glen to St Andrews, which is also a really good one. There's some ones I've got coming up, and then I've got a whole bunch around the Gembrook, Beaconsfield, Emerald area that I'm going to film, which will bring me to, and once again the video, I have some news for the channel that I'm going to be putting up probably around the same time this video comes out, so you may have heard it. Actually, yeah, it will be around the same time that this video comes out. But keep an eye out for that video. And alrighty, thanks for watching. I'll get back to you in the next video.